Hey, everybody, this is Roy McDonald from MacDon and Associates coming to you with the next episode of Tuesdays with Rory. I have in the studio today, Brad Bidus. Am I saying it right?
Close, Bidus.
Bidus. I'm not even close, man.
No, everybody says it. You're good.
Of PLB Lending out of Washington Township, Michigan. Romeo area is where your roots are from.
That's it.
But I will let you, without further ado, everybody. Brad, tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you're all about, and your role within the lending world.
Well, Rory, thanks for having us on. PLB Lending is a family-owned business. We're a mortgage brokerage. We've been out in Washington Township for 22 years now. So that's kind of where I was born and raised. My mother, Patricia Bidus, is the owner of it, and she started the company. So back then, she was just starting the company to kind of be able to grow a family with, do more stuff with her family, her kids, and have a good time. But it kind of blossomed and grew, and she hired some people to kind of help her run it as well, as far as processing staff that just all came in house. But yeah, then I came in 8 years ago and started my portion and growing my company went inside of it. We are licensed in Michigan and Florida, so we can lend between either of them. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right on, man. Right on. So one of the things it seems like whenever it is that we get on the phone with each other, or we sit down and we grab a beer or coffee or whatever it might be, is your understanding and your knowledge when it comes to just kind of the state of the market, right? Like that's one of the things that I care about and I really pay a ton of attention to, because I think us as professionals in this world, whether it's the lending side or the real estate side, really having a solid grasp on one, what the market is currently doing,
right, and
how that affects our clients. And then two, where is the market going and how can our clients get ahead of it or be ready for it? Right. So just kind of from your perspective, I know I've shared it quite a bit on the podcast here of like, what's going on with the market, right? We have a crazy low inventory. We have a high number of buyers, things like that. And people listen to me and people don't, but that's from a real estate perspective, not necessarily from a lending perspective where you're coming from.
Right.
So just kind of, and you might be reiterating a lot of the same things that I already said, right? But from your perspective as a specifically Macomb and Oakland County, you rock it in this area. How are things going? What are you noticing? What are you seeing happening right now in the market when it comes to the pre-approval process, the pre-approvals? Like, do you have a ton of pre-approvals coming in and not a lot of closings? Do you have a ton of closings and not a lot of pre-approvals?
Right.
How are things going for you right now?
Yeah. So we saw the transition over the last 12 months of still having no houses, but the rates being really well placed, in the 2s and 3s, was pretty average. You had a lot of buyers in that, but you still didn't have the inventory. So you had a lot more pre-approvals going on then, but a lot of those people weren't able to get housing. It was a fight for everything.
Yeah.
Nowadays, rates going from 2s and 3s up into the 6s and 7s now. You aren't doing as many pre-approvals, even though there's still quite a bit of people. It was that transition that everybody was super slow on. Now we're in the new norm. People are kind of coming back off the sidelines, and they're getting back out there. The spring market's pretty much here. It's about to start blossoming in Michigan again.
Let's cross our fingers, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to come pretty soon here. A little bit of sun outside makes everybody happy. It goes a long way.
For sure.
But we're still lacking in the inventory, right? So at the end of the day, until there's more houses that come on the market, there's only so many houses for people to grab.
For sure.
And that's the biggest, hurdle that everybody's trying to tackle right now. It's just, you can sit there and pre-approve people all day long, but until they find that house that they want, and, if it's at the right price point, that's where they kind of snaffle them. But as far as the pre-approval, that big transition over the last 12 months, going from low rates to higher rates, historically, we were at the very, very bottom.
Yeah.
Now we're into more of a little bit more normal. It took a lot of buying power away from buyers, right? So their max pre-approval amounts could have been 500,000-600,000, just randomly numbers speaking, with a 2 or 3% interest rate. Now you get into the 6s and 7s, that buying power was significantly reduced.
Sure.
the housing didn't significantly reduce. So they're getting put into a different price point at a completely different house. But when you lack inventory and the buyers are still there, values really aren't probably going to come down at all.
Yeah. No, that's true. And one of the things that I'm hearing you say, and there's two different perspectives to approach this with, right? Yep. There's the seller, which oftentimes leads to them being a purchaser.
Right.
And there is a purchaser who does not need to sell the home.
Right.
So looking at this from the perspective of somebody who is selling a home, I have right now, and I counted this for those of you who are wondering, just pre-walking into this, I have 14 families who plan to list their home come spring. 14. A lot of them are all in the same area. In fact, I can tell you off the top of my head, 4 of them have a 3-bedroom ranch in St. Clair Shores. You know what I mean? Like, so I just look at this from that perspective going, hey, yes, I can understand waiting till spring. I can get that. I understand it, but now might be the most perfect time for you to put your home on the market and have it sold and have potentially, like we were seeing in the craziness of 2020 and 2021, having 90 days to stay in your house for free.
For sure.
Well, we then go through the transition of you closing on your home, on the sale of your home, finding your next home, trying to figure out what's happening with the interest rates in the midst of that. Yes, it's a stressful process. 100%. It's hard. We get it. But like, how badly do you want to wait till the spring? Are you willing to wait till the spring for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, upwards of $30,000 less for the sale of your home?
Which is crazy because you wait that little bit of period of time to kind of gamble on if you can get that more money when there's still a line of people wanting to see that house and are probably ready to put offers in on them. So if you sell now, it's not a bad time because when you go to buy your new house, you're still not going to fight that spring market just yet.
For sure.
So you have a pretty good chance of transitioning without it being as chaotic and as hectic, you know?
Yeah. And if you're selling in that market too, in this 100%. Market that we're in right now, and let's say you are one of those people who are in St. Clair Shores, that you've been in this house for a long period of time. You bought it maybe pre-COVID even, and you're in a position where you have a ton of equity in the home. You are in the most perfect spot because 100%. The people who are getting pre-approved, what it is that I'm seeing, the people who are getting pre-approved and getting ready to jump into the market are people who have not been in the market. And what I'm seeing, this isn't everybody, but what I'm seeing, they're not super cash heavy. And so if I'm selling in a spring market and somebody's coming and putting 50% down versus somebody who's putting 3% down, I'm going to lean a little bit heavier on the 50%, knowing that I might not need to have to deal with an appraisal process when it comes to the purchase, which that has to do with this whole other camp when it comes to being a purchaser right now in this market. How are you, when it comes to helping out our purchasers, how are you helping those buyers? What are your suggestions, if you will, when it comes to like, hey, I kind of want to wait till the spring. There's just no houses on the market. What should I do? What are you saying to them?
Well, it really depends because obviously you want the professional of the real estate agent to help advise them on what they want to do with the house that they're selling. You know, you have so many different options as far as where you're going to price it. If you want to price it very, competitively, you can sell the house probably pretty quickly. If you want to price it for a dollar point that you absolutely need to hit to walk away with that, might be a little bit tougher. And that just plays into timing, right? But at the end of the day, there are a lot of people that are ready and willing to look at that house, if it's priced in the right, price point. As far as what we kind of are talking about in the spring market is a big thing that held people back, especially the last couple of years, was contingencies. Having a contingency upon selling your house to go buy that another one, that could make or break it, So that was a big thing right now. Because, there's not as many buyers in the market. The buyers are being able to negotiate with sellers a little bit. They're entertaining the offers of actually being able to have a house that you can sell, purchase the new one, take the funds and the proceeds that you make from selling that house and apply it to that new house rather than having to recast a loan where you possibly have 2 mortgage payments for a short period of time just because you didn't want to have the contingency. Right. And then you just take that funds from the proceeds and pay down the loan balance and recast your mortgage. But, it's definitely a tough one. But right now is great because it's a good middle ground for both people, buyers and sellers.
No, it's true. I think so. If we go back to purchasers, we go back to 2001. Yes, people had unbelievably low rates. historically lows, like a 2.3 interest rate, which is just unbelievable. Right. That's the kind you get from grandpa. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's crazy. And so now we're looking at, you know, where are we at right now? 6 to 7s, give or take.
Absolutely.
In that ballpark. So the other thing that I constantly go back to is, like, historically speaking, I want to always look back at the history of numbers.
It's
right?
a cycle.
100%. It is a cycle. And the cyclical side of purchasing a home, what we see on a consistent basis, and you will be able to speak to this probably more than I will, because you see the refi side of things. I don't see the refi.
Right.
I just see the purchase and the sale.
Yeah.
But historically speaking, when we see the rates come down super low, we see a ton of refinancing.
Absolutely.
A lot of people staying put. I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to stay in my home. I'm going to change my rate. I've got 20 years left on this, and I might as well refi. Let me pull some cash out, maybe finish the kitchen, whatever it might be. Right.
Absolutely.
Tons of refis when the rates are low. When the rates are high, we see a ton of purchasers come out of nowhere. Right.
Absolutely.
And we're in that, like, transition period right now of the rates just went up.
Yeah. Last 6 months. That was the incline very heavily, you know. Well, I guess even before that, you know, you can go 9 months back. That was the big jump, right? That's when they went up. And then for the last 3 months, they actually kind of trickled back down. So they came down a good portion. Over the last month or so, they kind of went back up. It was last Thursday that they finally went back over 7% as a national average. So, but, you know, getting in that new norm is when the buyers start coming back out, because they realize that, okay, well, I'm not going to get that 2 or 3% anymore. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
The good thing when that happens, takes out the buyer, a lot of buyers in the market. So you can go and get that house, not have, an appraisal guarantee or pay over appraised value. You know, it takes out the competition. You get to negotiate a little bit more. When you refinance, there's no competition.
Right.
It's just you and the lenders. Go get the best terms for your finances, and then take advantage of it. And it's, that's your long haul for the mortgage.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's a good way to put it. I forgot what I was going to say. It's here a second ago. I can't remember now. If it comes up,
that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you seeing too? So this is hopefully for you guys out there who are listening. When it comes to this, one of the things that we really want to drive home is, first and foremost, we can sit here, we can talk about rates all day long.
They're subjective.
They're subjective, but then there's also, like, this idea that I'm seeing a ton of people right now that are going, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to move my family out of the house right now and put us in a better position, just in terms of living space and maybe a better school district or whatever it might be. I'm not going to do that because the rates are too high.
Right.
And I can understand that. I can understand, like, the fiscal responsibility of being able to take care of family. I get it. Yeah. That makes sense. And if you don't need to move, don't.
That's just weighing out your options.
Right. If you don't need to move, don't. That is okay.
Yep.
But specifically talking to the families out there that are going, like, hey, we know we will not fit in this house anymore.
Right.
We have run out of room. We're tired. I had a family recently that they were tired of the school district they were in, and they wanted to be in a different one.
Yeah.
Period. That is what they wanted. And so that, outside of school and choice to your kids to a different school, and adding more miles to the truck or adding more gas mileage or whatever it is, that just can't happen. And so one of the things that I'm really pushing hard, and this is to anybody out there listening right now who's considering purchasing a home, whether or not you're working with us as a lender or me as a real estate agent, you are buying the home. You are not buying your real estate agent, or excuse me, you're not buying the home. You're buying the home.
Yeah.
You are not buying your rate.
Right.
So to sit and wait for the rate, you're doing yourself and potentially your family a disservice when it comes to getting the right home and the right situation for you. You can always go back and refinance. If it makes sense to move now, find the home, move. Make sure it makes sense for your budget, of course, but you're gonna buy the home. You're not buying a rate.
Right.
So one of the things I really want to drive home.
For the 30 years or whatever your mortgage is, you can never change what you paid for that house. Yep. Your rate will change.
That's a great way to put it.
You are going to most likely, I'll bet money on it, refinance that house within the first probably 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether or not you go from a 30-year to a 15-year, or like you said, you take cash out because you grew equity over the last 5 years. You take that money and you finish your basement. You put more equity into your house that way. There's a lot of different things. People pay off student loans, credit card debts. They leverage the equity in their house and move it somewhere else. It gets you ahead still. So, that's the big thing right now is you will refinance it most likely. If not, you'll move.
Yeah.
Because you figure out what happens. Life happens. More kids come along. You take a different job, so the house purchase price never changing.
Yeah, no, that's completely true. So here's the other thing that we wanted to get into, and this is a spicy topic of what is this happening within the market, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing a ton of obviously there's things that happen within our market when it comes to buyers and sellers. There's things that happen when it comes to people purchasing, refinancing, buying investment properties, and leveraging the loan side of things. That's all real. That's all happening.
Oh yeah.
But all of that has a tendency to affect the number of people who are working in our areas, in our world, in real estate, in lending, in title. I mean, you can go down the list with this stuff, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like from 2020, like mid 2020, like just after COVID, up until like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Everybody got a flipping real estate license.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, everybody got one. And now I'm starting to see these people slowly, like, they're going back to their other jobs, or they're going back to college, or they're going, hey, this just wasn't the right move for me. I'm going to go back to whatever it might be. Are you seeing that in the lending world as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there was a stat that came out. So when you are a licensed loan originator, you have to renew your license every year. Every fiscal year it gets licensed. It's a renewal process. From 2022 to 2023, Michigan alone, 25% of loan originators did not renew their license. That's huge. Took out a lot of people, and that just shows how many people got licensed in that short period of time, because refinances were so big. That was pretty much controlling the whole market. You had mortgage companies that popped up randomly just all over the place to get as much, money as they possibly could. And now all those places are going out of business. You have some of the biggest lenders in the country that are laying people off. Probably because that there's not enough business going around. Right. And so that comes down to the main thing is there's not enough going on for the staffing in the industry. And you also get the people that are not renewing because they thought it was easy. Refinances are the low hanging fruit in a refinance boom. We've always been a purchase focused company. So, when you focus on the purchases, that's where you're going to be in the long haul. That's how you don't go out of business. We've made it through 2008. We're making it through 2023. This is a transition period, just that was like, the last one. So, but you will see a lot of people continue to get out of the industry just because refinances and purchases are very two different things.
Yeah, no, that's that 100. I'm glad that you said that, because we're seeing that within the real estate market as well. So I know I said it just a second ago, but like, well, more than anything, let me touch on this. One of the things that I noticed happened during that time is so many people getting real estate licenses, and I have to respect the idea of going, hey, I want to be able to support my friends. I want to be able to support my family who they just got a real estate license, and I want to be able to help them.
Yep.
That makes perfect sense. I get it. I had people that did that with me when I first got my license.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now that we're entering a period of time where who you use actually matters.
Absolutely.
It actually matters now. There are instances where I am writing offers and I'm submitting offers to real estate agents, and they're coming back to me and going, dude, I am so happy that you submitted an offer on this.
They trust you.
We have 9 offers on this house. And I am so happy that you submitted an offer on this because I've worked with you in the past.
Absolutely.
Had an excellent experience of working with you in the past, had an excellent experience with your whole team, everybody that's been around you. And it really sets a lot of my mind and the minds of my seller at ease, knowing that we're going to be able to get this deal done.
Says a lot about you in the community.
Yeah.
Right?
And
people
I have
know you localized, and that's big.
Yeah. But it's coming back to the idea of like, okay, if who you use actually matters, it's almost like we need this cycle of the people who got their licenses in the past couple of years to go away.
Yeah.
Like it just is reality.
Yeah.
You're the low hang. It's time to trim the fat.
100%.
Let's trim the fat, and then let's end up with the agents and the loan officers who are not just doing this as a means of
financial
quick cash
benefits.
Yeah, not just as a means of quick cash and being able to look cool on Instagram, but as a means of going, hey, like this, I'm making a career out of this. I'm going towards the idea of I want to take care of people.
100%.
I want to be able to put my sellers, my buyers, whoever it is, in the most advantageous spot financially for their family. Like that's the goal. That's what we're going after.
Yeah.
And I really think going into these next couple, I'll say the next couple months, but it might be the next two years or so.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to see a massive amount of real estate agents drop off, which is why for those of you who might be listening, who are real estate agents or lenders who are partnered up with some of these other companies that are out there that you know the conversations in the office of closed another one, just got another commission check. And that's the only conversation that you have. Not like, hey, who's this family that you closed?
Yeah.
Who's this family that finally bought a house for the first time?
100%.
And the story behind it, like that actually matters. Right.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are out there who are in that position, my suggestion for you would be to be partnered up and having conversations with real estate agents who are in this for the long haul, with lenders who are in this for the long haul, as a means of being able to lean on them and what it is that they did when the market was not the way that it is right now.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, that's my thought. Do you have any do you want to touch base on that too? You want to figure out?
Yeah. I mean, partnering up with people through the tough times that are there next to you, fighting tooth and nail through that until you get to the good times. Cause like you said, it's cyclical. Bad times last for a period of time. Good times come back. It goes up and it goes down. You got to find the people that are with you through the rough times to have the benefits of being there with you through the good times. Every client that I ever work with, doesn't matter who it is, don't care what you do for a living. It's not a number, it's not a statistic to me. It's a relationship, and, growing a relationship at the end, I feel like I'm either friends or close enough to be like family with these people. And, it's being there through the end, touching base with them after the closing, staying in touch with these people and checking in and see how they're doing. Everyone's life is changing. And so, for me, it's obviously, I deal with finances, from people. I'm the money guy, right? So I give people the money and, or we get them the money. But when you can stay a little bit more personalized with them, that's when they get more comfortable and they trust you, and it's a lot better relationship. And when that transaction happens, people tend to refer you more, know, and that's just how you grow your business. And so growing it off of relationships rather than just monetary, it's big.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. For those of you who are watching today, I want to thank you guys for checking out today's episode of Tuesdays with Roy. Brad, anybody out there who, wants to connect with you and ask more questions, maybe about pre-approval, or hey, what is my next step? Here's my credit. I'm having issues. What do I need to do? How would they best get a hold of you? That's your cell phone. It's on 24/7. I don't think my phone's ever been off. I don't think I've ever turned it off. My cell phone, 586-883-3441. Send me a text. Give me a call. If you want, you can go to our website. It's just plblending.com. You can access, I'm on social media. So add me on Facebook, Brad Bidus. If you want, you can go to my Instagram. It's Brad Bidus as well. I'm all over the place. I'm not hard to find. You can get me from anywhere, and I'm always available to help anybody. Yeah. Big golfer too. So if any of you guys are like, I need a golfing buddy. Yeah. I can't give you tips, but we'll golf with you. Here's your guy. But no, dude, seriously, very thankful to have you in the studio. Thanks for having me out. Absolutely. Talking specifically through the state of the market. This is it's a big topic that I think a lot of people need to know. And I think that we did a good job of, hopefully we did a good job. Yeah. Well, it's the first one, but it's not going to be the last. That's right. I appreciate you, man. Anytime. Really, honestly, thanks for coming in. Thanks, buddy. Thank you guys for checking out today's episode of Tuesdays with Rory. Besides that, you all have a very blessed day. We'll see you.